watching,
The
bro.
infiltrator units were each powered by 2 hydrogen cells, which enabled them to function for well over a century. With that in mind, I don't think Skynet had intended for its units to last longer than a few decades, as over time, the chances of one becoming self-aware and going rogue increased significantly. Because hydrogen fuel is so volatile, these power cells became unstable when ruptured and would explode in the course of a large problem. The infiltrator units were capable of running system checks and calculating the distance of objects relative to themselves, which made the detailed kinetic studies of trajectory, sampling, and analysis possible within a split second. This was also very useful in assessing human emotional states and body language, and the T-800s would rarely perform a function or move without checking this display to ensure that they determined the best course of action. I recently rewatched the first Terminator film, and have to admit, 34 years later, it is still one of the most terrifying portrayals of cat and mouse off the screen, with a seemingly unstoppable machine that desired to kill Sarah Connor. I mean, the first Terminator's emotions was cold, violent, ruthless, and had no emotional range or connectivity to words or actions, and almost never showed a facial expression beyond its cold, flat face, speaking only when it meant to engage others for information, or when it intended to throw unwanted attention onto itself. Like the rest of the Terminators we see throughout the series, the T-800 was first and relentless in its mission to destroy the Connors, to the point that it continued to pursue Sarah, even when it was significantly damaged. Well, that's all for today, folks. Thanks to all of you guys who requested we take a closer look at the T-800's feats in the Terminator franchise. If there's any other stuff you'd like me to check out, please don't hesitate to ask. As always, it's been a pleasure. Niad here with you on Comics Explained. Thanks for stopping by.
is so ass, bro. I don't know how people classify themselves being good if they do that, bro. That, ooh. Good,
hey guys,
bro.
what's happening? Niad here with Film and Comics Explained, and today
We'll be exploring the T-1000 as medium in James Cameron's sci-fi masterpiece, Terminator 2 Judgment Day. The T-1000, also known as the Prototype Series 1000 Terminator, is a fictional character in the Terminator franchise. Essentially an android shape-shifting assassin, the T-1000 is the main antagonist of Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and a minor antagonist in Terminator Genesis, which we will ignore since it decided to ignore what comes before it. Created by the franchise's main antagonist, Skynet, who's a machine artificial intelligence directed to robotic creations, yet human resistance level 4. The T-1000 described as Terminator 2 is composed of a liquid metal made of polyaluminum.
Oh my god.
About both Skynet and T-800 in our videos, which I'll link below, and I highly recommend you guys check them out. Aside from being able to camouflage itself by choosing views of nondescript objects and the likeness of other humans,
rolling.
In Terminator 2 Judgment Day, the T-1000's default form is portrayed by the legendary Robert Patrick, while other actors portray the T-1000 in the disguises of specific characters. The infiltration unit was described as a technological leap over the 800 series Terminator, with the T-800 explaining that the T-1000 was a more advanced killing machine. As mentioned before, it could use its ability to quickly liquefy and issue forms in innovative and surprising ways, including fitting through narrow openings, morphing its arms into solid metal tools or bladed weapons, walking through prison bars, flattening itself and imitating the pattern and texture of the ground to hide or ambush its targets.
Thank you. You're all set. Really?
You should kill yourself.
That was so easy. And what? Not even a word.
The T-1000 had the ability to extrude small, simple items from itself. For example, it created a motorcycle helmet.
Alright guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. So in today's video we're going to be doing analog catalog of world.
are you here? You're from before she dies, aren't you? You can't save her.
Yes, I can. And I'm going to.
No, you can't. Go home.
Just tell me who's in the suit. Right, that's all I need. You tell me that, we'll be able to track him down. We'll learn his weakness. We'll stop him before he even tries. Just tell me who Savitar is.
I can't.
Why?
Because I don't know the answer. Sorry you ran all this way for nothing. You want some advice? Go home. Spend as much time with Iris as you can, because pretty soon I'll never see her again. You promised her that you would be there for Joe. You don't understand.
I don't understand what? That you abandoned him? That you abandoned him and everybody else? You made a promise. That I couldn't keep. Not after everything I lost. I was just as broken as Joe was. You will. You will. You want answers, Barry? How's this? You will go back. You will do everything that you can think of to save her. You're even going to create time limits on yourself, but he's going to kill them almost. And then on the night of May 23rd, Iris West will die in your arms. And in that moment, she takes her last breath. It'll feel like an eternity. And it will break you. Just love your life, Mary. She was the love of my life. There'll be nothing left at all but stopping Savitar. So now you won't be there for Joe. You won't be there when Caitlin becomes Killer Frost. And Savitar destroys Paul. You won't be there for any. But then one day it'll stop. They'll lock him in the Speed Force forever. But at that point, he already won. Because everything that you've ever loved is gone. Including you. Go home, Barry. There's nothing for you here.
Welcome to Nerdgasm, everyone. Today we're going to be going over the origin of the Reverse Flash. One of the Flash's greatest enemies, and honestly, in my opinion, one of the best villains in the DC universe. In the 25th century, where Eobard Thawne is from, there are no more mistakes, and time is utilized to the fullest. Even Eobard's own birth was part of a protocol. His strawberry blonde hair, blue eyes, and genius IQ was entirely engineered by his parents. Eventually, his parents would decide he needed a brother who would help develop his social abilities. But Eobard saw having a little brother as a nuisance. All of the required activities that he had to take part in severely affected his studies. And Eobard was already a difficult child to be around. Imagine having an ungrateful brother on top of that. When he got older, Eobard was behind in his studies and was rejected for a position at the Flash Museum. But being the genius he is, he thought it would be better to just learn the history of the Speed Force on his own. Well, apparently looking into the Speed Force outside of the Flash Museum is illegal. And the cop that came to arrest him was none other than his little brother. Eobard's little brother even erased all the data he had been collecting over the years. His brother was just about to arrest him and take him to jail when Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash, appeared and seemingly erased his own brother from his timeline. Now Eobard would grow up as an only child. Now an only child, Eobard had plenty of time to dedicate his life to study the Speed Force. He would even become one of the scientific elite at the Flash Museum. He spent his days trying to learn the secrets of the Speed Force and of the Flashes until someone at the Flash Museum beat him to it. This guy figured out how to rebuild the cosmic treadmill and was going to prove the existence of the Speed Force. Surprisingly, Eobard took the loss fairly well. That is until Professor Drake refused to share information on the Speed Force with him. Eobard snapped, and before he could even finish yelling at Professor Drake, the Reverse Flash showed up again and erased Drake from the timeline. With Drake out of the way, Eobard became the professor at the Flash Museum, and because he was the leading expert on the Speed Force, they gave him the nickname Professor Zoo. Now he would spend his time trying to tap into the Speed Force, unsuccessfully. His parents began to worry about him, and told him that people were saying that the Flash never even existed, and the museum is a lie. When they threatened the suspension of the Flash Museum, Reverse Flash appeared again and killed his own parents. Unsurprisingly, this didn't even faze Eobard. He continued with his work. He was going insane trying to unlock the Speed Force. Everything he did just led to another dead end. But then he would experience something new. Eobard actually fell in love. But when the woman he fell for had a fiance, the Reverse Flash killed her fiance. Even with him out of the way, and the two of them growing closer, he couldn't get her to go out on a date. She was still hoping that eventually her fiance would show up. Reverse Flash then went back in time and erased her fiance from the timeline completely, so she'd be available to date Eobard. She just didn't feel the same way about him. But don't worry, the Reverse Flash fixed that. He went back in time and permanently damaged her when she was 5 years old by vibrating her at super speed. Now Eobard would grow up having never fell in love and dedicated all his time to learning about the Speed Force. But one day out of nowhere, a time capsule crashed right in front of him. It was the luckiest day of his life. The capsule contained the Flash's signature uniform, along with other remnants from the 21st century. He used the uniform to find a spark of the Speed Force in the suit, and used that spark to replicate the Speed Force explosion and give himself super speed. Eobard had finally done it. He finally obtained what he always wanted. And when he took his powers for a little test drive, he pushed a tipsy party girl off a roof. Before she hit the ground, Eobard raced down and caught her, saying that she was lucky he was there. This is how Eobard Thawne became the fastest man alive, the Flash of the 25th century. But we all know that this wouldn't last long, and the Reverse Flash would get his revenge on the Flash for the future he was about to experience. He vowed revenge for what Barry Allen would do to him, and started his rampage through Barry Allen's life. Now we all know that even though Eobard wanted to be a hero, when he found out he was supposed to be the Flash's greatest villain, he went a little bit insane. Taking some nasty turns, the Flash eventually had to stop him. This is where Eobard learned he would become the Flash's greatest enemy, and to him, Barry Allen was a destroyer, not a hero. Eobard was locked away until he was able to use the Speed Force in his system to escape. But he didn't just run back and try to kill the Flash. No. He created his own Speed Force, a negative Speed Force. And with his new negative Speed Force, he ran back in time to destroy the Flash. He figured that he could stop the chemicals from hitting Barry and undo his transformation that caused him to become the Flash. Then Eobard would be the only Flash to ever exist. He could use the lightning bolt to start his origin as the Flash. However, as the lightning bolt got closer to Eobard, Eobard started to fade away, and the lightning bolt passed right through him, hitting Barry and giving Barry Allen super speed. Eobard realized that he almost faded out of existence by trying to stop Barry from becoming the Flash. As you can imagine, he was infuriated that the man he wants to kill most in the world needs to live in order for the Reverse Flash to exist. He decided to go for the next best thing and hurt the people closest to him. But when he tried to kill Iris, the Flash didn't take too kindly to that idea and ended up snapping Eobard's neck. But Eobard was quick to learn from his mistakes. Now he needed a new tactic. Eobard decided to try and break Barry down as a child, and began demoralizing him through his entire childhood. Even when Barry began to make friends, the Reverse Flash would show up and erase them from the timeline so Barry would always be alone. Eobard's final act to completely ruin the Flash's life was insanely monstrous. He would travel back in time to right after Barry left for school, and finally get his revenge by killing Nora Allen. With Nora Allen dead and Henry Allen accused of the murder, Eobard Thawne had finally won. Barry Allen's life would never be the same again. And this was just the beginning of the Reverse Flash's rampage against the Flash. Now there have been plenty of other Reverse Flashes in the comic books, but Eobard Thawne has always been the best one. The things that he's done, because he sees the Flash as the villain, is insane. And no matter what Barry does, Eobard is always there to try and break him down. Not to mention the fact that his negative Speed Force allows him to do things that Barry's Speed Force can't. Let me know what you guys think about Eobard Thawne in the comment section below. Who's your favorite speedster and who's your favorite villain? Let me know what hero or villain you guys want to see next. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for the support. If you're new, hit the subscribe button and stick around. I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye. Welcome to Nerdgasm. At the grave of one of his greatest failures, Wally West. Wally West was the first person he couldn't save, and that death has haunted him all this time. At the grave, Iris shows up and tells the future Flash that the night watchman is on her payroll, and he tells her when strange characters are hanging around the graveyard. It helps her to get the best scoops for the paper. Barry then reveals his identity to Iris and tells her that he's sorry for what happened to Wally. He even tells her that he can fix this and save him from dying. Iris tries to stop him from messing with time, and he doesn't even care because he doesn't plan to come back from this trip, and he races off. Even though Iris seems upset with him, there's a small part of her that's happy to know that things could be different. Future Barry makes a quick stop in the ruins of Gorilla City so that he could meet with Grodd. When he gets there, he sees Grodd dining on the brain of the 25th century's smartest man, Eobard Thawne. Grodd starts taunting the Flash and mocking him for wasting his speed on being a hero. He boasts how he's eating Thawne's brain and his intellect is now Grodd's. He even brags about eating Daniel West's brain so that Grodd could use his reverse Flash powers to travel back in time and collect a vast library of ancient knowledge. Having heard enough, the Flash attacks Grodd and tells him that he won't let Grodd tamper with the timeline anymore, and that this was going to be a fight to the death. Even with his speed, the future Flash kept getting caught by Grodd. With both Grodd's enhanced intelligence and his speed, Grodd was a deadly force. Just when Grodd was about to eat the future Flash's brain and add his powers and intelligence to his own, there was an explosion in the Speed Force that knocked them both back. The future Flash tells Grodd that the Speed Force is damaged and time is bleeding out, while at the same time planting a tiny microbomb in Grodd's head. He knows that Grodd may be smart and fast, but his fingers are too fat to reach a bomb wedged in his ears. And with that, Grodd's head explodes. The future Flash doesn't feel any remorse for killing Grodd, and instead says that if he can save time, that Grodd will never have had to die in the first place. And he says that the way to fix time is to run back and kill his younger self. The future Flash goes back to the night of a major catastrophe at the Central City Museum. Mirror Master arrives to rob the upper-class guests, and he traps them in his mirror dimension. Just as he's getting the cops to hand over their guns, Future Flash shows up and pushes the police chief into the mirror world. He starts running from mirror to mirror but can't seem to catch Mirror Master. But that was apparently all part of his plan. The police chief manages to get his gun back and aims it at Mirror Master's head. When he jumps to another mirror, the Future Flash races past him, steals his mirror gun, and breaks his arm. Future Flash has the police chief use the mirror gun to bring everyone back to the real world. And then he shows the Mirror Master a news headline of the robbery. Apparently an earthquake was going to hit the city and shatter the mirrors, killing 11 people. Future Flash races out of the mirror world to his next mission, just as the earthquake hits Central City, shattering the mirrors and killing Mirror Master. Future Flash goes back further to visit a hospitalized Leonard Snart on the night he was going to die. Apparently the Flash had missed it the first time Snart died and wanted to be there for him this time. Future Flash starts confessing everything about the Speed Force being damaged.
Wait, you still coming? How? She said she was gonna meet you when she get off of work. Yeah. So you still coming or?